You're getting the last
Yeah,
one?
we're live. There it is. Just like that.
We're live.
Hello, everybody.
I can have the last one? Wow.
Wow. Someone gives you their last
Yeah. I don't know if he ate any.
last food snack. That's significant.
Yeah, super significant. Let me tell you. You don't know what true friendship is
Until you get the last food snack.
until you get the last fruit snack.
That's accurate.
Yeah. So for those of you who have friends out there,
Have they ever given you the last fruit snack?
they have not. You need to question your
You
friendship.
gotta look at that a little
You
different.
know, I might just.
Hey, Nicole.
What's up, Alyssa?
Hey,
Hey,
Alyssa.
Nicole.
And Hope. Good morning.
Your thing is like faster than it is over here because I didn't even see Hope.
Like it was boom right away.
You said it, and then
Then it
she
popped up.
showed up
I just had a feeling. It's new. It's premonition.
because New Hope was on her way.
Yeah. Good to see you guys. How's everyone doing this morning?
How long have you been up? I just want to know. Just asking for a friend.
Like it's just say hours. You don't have to say what time.
Yeah, how many hours? have
We
you
can
been
figure
up?
it out.
It's 10 o'clock now.
We'll do the math.
What do you think? Oh, you gotta check my heart. You
My
check,
Micaiah is walking around with a stethoscope in his ears.
you check my leg and my thigh.
I'm not sure where he got his doctor's certification from.
Who's that?
Oh, this is 3 hours. That's impressive. That's like early for summer, I feel like.
Who's I can't see that name after Hope.
There's a child.
It looks like
Hope's at
it's
2 hours, Nicole 1 hour.
it looks like it's
Look at you early birds.
for Game of Thrones.
That's far away to read. We're going to have little like eyes come by every so often.
Just heads up.
Well, way to be up and way to be awake, people. This is great. I was up till like 2 last night.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was up. That's actually my problem too. I was up until at least 1. I think my wife went to bed at 1.
We're on the same boat. Yeah, it was a late night.
Lasagna al fresco. That's who. Who is that?
That's Zach, right?
Somebody who likes.
I don't remember your code name.
Cheetos. Is that who that
Emily's been up for 1 minute. Noise. Well done. That's my speed.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Yes, Emily. There you go.
I feel like 10 o'clock is still like in summer hours. That's early.
Yeah. Oh,
That's-
for sure. A teenager.
that's a
like
morning.
1000%. Yeah. It's like you're welcome. I woke up at
Right?
I have arrived, everyone. You're welcome. You know.
My dad worked concrete when I was like in high school, so over the summer they'd have to get up like before the sun was up. So he would like get up super early, so usually like 4 or so. There were some times that, like I would be passing him down the hallway going to bed, and she was like coming out. Good night, good morning.
Oh man.
That's more what I like to do. It was cooler at night,
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
sometimes a little bit.
There's just so much. I don't know.
Hello, shepherds.
You've
Hello,
got
shepherds.
a whole bunch of freedom to do whatever you want. No one's bothering you.
It's true. Yeah.
I was a night owl for the longest time.
See, I still am, but I pay for it more now because the
Yeah.
morning still comes. Like the kids, they don't. They
Yeah,
don't
they don't
in.
sleep.
They don't sleep ever.
They don't sleep.
I know at some point. See, so we're hearing people sleeping in. So I know at some point they'll switch over to that. I just don't know when that
But
happens.
what age?
When that magical time happens.
What age do they switch over?
Hopefully this age.
Just
Hopefully.
sleep in.
One morning it'll happen.
Yeah, for sure. My kids they probably ended up falling asleep. I won't say went to bed because I put them to bed. And our kids already have a pretty late bedtime. I want to know if you guys have bedtimes or had bedtimes. If you had a bedtime when you were a kid, like what was your bedtime? I feel like my kids go to bed late. They've got William is 5 and Winston's 3. He'll be 4. William will be 6 this year. But they go to bed at 9.
Okay.
So 8:30 is bath time, and then 9 is when they get in the bed. And they're usually, and we read them a book at 9. So yeah, in the comments, I'd be interested to hear what time you guys had bedtime. But I feel like my kids go to bed late. Anyway.
Do they sleep in later then, or do they not?
No, they don't.
Oh, no.
And not only do they. Okay, so here's the other thing. So not only do they go to bed at 9, they don't even fall asleep until 11.
Wow.
So they're up in their
Impressive.
beds, singing songs, like, rolling cars along. I think I'm gonna move Winston's bed to the middle of the room.
That's actually probably a good idea. That's a good call.
Like rolling cars like along the walls. So yeah, bedtimes. Anyone?
Emily says when it was little, it was 8. Nicole 8. 8 seems like a popular one.
Yeah.
We do 7:30 for our kids. That it used to be like 7, and then Melina, our oldest, was like, "Well, I'm older, shouldn't it be later now?" So like, okay, but then they all got moved later, and she didn't like that. She's like, but I'm the older one.
Yeah. So,
but mostly it's like they're usually up till about. We tell them like to be quiet around 8:30.
Were there any naps?
There are naps. Well, not for Melina. She's the oldest one. Michaela, middle, sometimes, and then Micaiah always. So usually, I feel like once you get to, I think it's Jim Gaffigan that talks about that. Like once you get to like 3 or so, it's like you end up paying for the nap more. Like it's happy now but sad later. So yeah, they still have rest time at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that I would like to break my kids out of the nap. That's one of the reasons why they stay up so late.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But they wake up. But the other problem is they still wake up early. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how do you stay up till midnight and then wake up at 6?
That's the thing about being a parent.
Ready to go.
We don't have answers. We don't. It's like, they literally give you a kid at the hospital. Like, all right, go.
Here you go.
Yeah. Great, but
like
I know nothing more than I started.
The scariest moment in like one of the scariest moments in your life is buckling the child into your first child into the car seat and driving home.
Let you take him.
It's just like, what do I do?
Are you sure? I came into the hospital.
I'm like now responsible.
Having no idea what to do, and I'm leaving the hospital.
Well, okay. So the other thing is
the
other thing that's like super comforting is that while you're at the hospital, the nurses are doing everything. Like they're like feeding, they're changing, they're telling you what this cry means, what that means. They're doing like everything for you. So you're just like, okay, and
I can do this.
And if they're not there, then you know that they're like right down the hall. So it's just like if something goes wrong, like I just run and get the hey, like something's happening here.
I don't know what this means.
Like what do I do? They're just like he's just sleeping. Relax.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure he's making some weird noises while he was sleeping. You can't do that when you get home.
No.
You get home and you're just like, oh well. Good luck.
That's it. There's no like training manual. There's nothing.
Yeah. So being a parent is a little tough sometimes. Yeah. It's interesting, but it's fun.
Tell your parents thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Long story short, Father's Day coming up.
It's true. It is.
Let's do something nice.
Yeah, because I remember as a kid being like, "Well, when's a Kids Day?" And my parents were like, "Every day. Every day is Kids Day." That's fair. I think so. Were there any sayings that your parents? I think I've told you guys before that like one of my not favorite parent sayings, but now has become one that I say as a kid at dinner table. We'd be like, I don't want this, I don't like it, whatever. And my dad would always say, "It's not a restaurant." That was his thing, like not a restaurant. And I hated it as a kid. And as soon as we had kids, I say it all the time now, at least a couple times a week. I don't like this.
Not a restaurant.
Not a restaurant. That was like a classic dad saying when I was growing up. That was probably the one that sticks with us the most. Do you guys have any sayings that your parents said or still say? My dad doesn't say that one anymore, but we say it now. All the kids say it.
Sayings that my parents said growing up.
That was the big one. I'm sure there's other ones.
There's a lot of them. I don't know how many. Some of them probably not appropriate for the YouTube channel.
Yeah. We'd often have like it threatened that our stuff would get thrown outside if we didn't clean it up. That was pretty common. I don't think it ever happened. I don't remember my stuff ever getting thrown outside, but I remember feeling that it was going to, so I better clean up.
I'm trying to think. There was something that there was a little just like remark that my mom would always reply to like a question that I had with, and now it's the same thing. I use it sometimes with my kids. I'm trying to remember what it is now.
And what says it was do everything right away, all the way with a happy heart. That's actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, that sounds biblical.
Yeah.
Is that a take on something in Proverbs or Ecclesiastes or something?
It sounds like it. We'll just say it is.
That works. Do everything. What was it?
Do everything right away, all the way.
Right away,
with a
all
happy
the
heart.
way.
There's like 3 parts to that saying. Mine's just a simple one. This is not a restaurant.
I've been drinking out of this cup. I don't know how many times I've drank out of this cup. Often, though, I feel like in our 11 episodes, this is probably my at least 4th probably time. I've never noticed that this is a D, the Disney D. I don't know if it's
Disney makes cool cups.
Or forwards for you guys.
I've gotten lots of questions about the mugs we have, and yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah.
So this one is cool. I just got this, I think, on our last trip, I think. So Space Mountain, I went on when I was like 6 years old with my dad, and I was freaked out the entire time. And then finally, like went on the ride, and it was okay. But then Megan and I went on it, I don't know, a couple years ago, and we got older apparently. So we both like afterwards felt dizzy and like off. And we're like, we'll never doing that one again. That just happens. And then Melina, this last time, she's like super into roller coasters, Incredicoaster, all of them, likes them all. And she wanted to go on Space Mountain. But like the time before we had gone, it was too busy. No one else wanted to go. And this time, like for whatever reason, there wasn't a huge line. We were at like little restaurant by Space Mountain. She's like, can we go on it? And I was trying to like pawn it off on anyone else. Like, hey, grandma, you want to go with her? Hey, uncle, no. Like, all right, I'll do it. Like, I will be queasy and miserable for my child. But it was great. I loved it. It was fine. So now I'm trying to talk Megan into going on it again because this time was fine. Maybe it was just we went too early or too late or I don't know. So then we got this mug. I like mugs and I like gray. It's my favorite color. It is a color. You can always tell me it's not. But yeah, so this is a Space Mountain blueprint. It is a color. It's like all of them. No, it's brown. I don't know. I don't know what it is. A light.
I don't know, like if black and white are colors, then gray is a color.
Right? I mean, more or less.
Yeah. Gannon, what's up, man? Oh, I was gonna ask is at what point they changed it to Hyperspace Mountain? Didn't they change it to
They did that, I think, when they bought Lucasfilm, when they bought Star Wars stuff. Because I remember they're like, we bought this thing, we're like, what are you gonna do with it? We're like, we don't know. Hyperspace Mountain. Huh?
That was one of the questions in I think it was Jeopardy. It was Jeopardy that we played last week on Friday.
So I'd say like, what was that, 2013, 14, somewhere in there, maybe? Look it up. You guys can figure it out. Emily says there's nothing she hated more than that saying. She was like, okay, I can do it, but have a happy heart. That's asking too much. Yes. It's always the little parts that
just like, yeah, I'll do it all the way.
But happy?
But happy?
Do I have to be? Do I have to? Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, like I can't be happy. I mean, I guess it's a good idea.
I feel like at least
to encourage that, but
as long as my kids do the thing I asked, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah,
the attitude would be a bonus, but as long as it gets done.
Yeah, the attitude. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Don't
worry, you're barely late. It's fine. We're just hanging out, talking about things, sayings. That actually reminds me, one of the questions Melina said, I was getting ready this morning. She's like, oh, a question that you and Pastor Will should talk about and then ask everybody else. She said, what's your favorite theme park? Favorite theme park. So I think that was, and for us, it's an easy one. It's Disneyland. Yeah.
I think for me, it's Six Flags. Even though I have not been.
Which one?
I was just telling Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain. Yeah. I have not been to Six Flags since I was a teenager, for sure. So it's been at least 10 years, maybe 15 years.
So I think it depends a lot on timing. Like as a little kid, I probably would have said Disneyland. And then junior high, high school, we went to Great America because we were in Northern California. Mm-hmm. So we went to Great America pretty often. Loved that one. But there's no theming to it. It's just roller coasters, It's like concrete and metal structures.
I've never been to Great America.
As a teenager, I remember being great. I don't know if it still would be now. I don't know. I've never been to Six Flags, so.
Oh, man.
I know. But also, it was Great America where I first realized I was getting older. I went every year because they used to do this like Christian festival concert thing at Great America. So we'd go and listen to bands. And I would go as a kid. And then when I was a youth leader, I took a group. And I was only like 20. And I went on one of the rides and like went around a turn and everything went dark. I was like, there's no cave here. No, I just blacked out for a second. I was like, what happened? Like, I go on this all the time. So that's the thing. Didn't stop me, but it's a thing now. Yeah. So at the time, it was exciting. And now, getting older again, I'm back to Disneyland because I appreciate the theming. Everything's themed. Like, even down like trash cans are even themed. Like one of the times we went there with the first time, like as a family with Melina as a little kid, and we're walking through and like there's, every land has different trash cans that are themed for the land. Mm-hmm. Like, even to the trash can. I remember walking through, it was like, I think over in California Adventure, and there's a guy walking around cleaning every trash can. Mm-hmm. Like, man, that is a lot of detail into making this place keep the magic. So that's where I'm at that one.
again, it's at Universal Studios.
I've never been there either.
Yeah, I went. So that actually, when I went to Universal Studios, was right when Episode 1 had come out, and so I think it was still under Universal, or I mean, I think Universal at least had like the rights to be able to market or whatever. I don't know, but I just remember. I remember going to Universal Studios and like writing a bunch of like Star Wars stuff. Then
Oh, crazy.
I was, I don't know, like 12. What year did Episode 1 come out?
I was thinking that was like 99, right?
Oh, wow, actually. You might be right.
I think it was, yeah. Crazy.
Well,
Yeah, what happened? So that's the theme for today. So we got a lot of, it looks like Six Flags and Disneyland is pretty much the two.
Disneyland standards can be beat. Yeah, you're right.
But again, you don't go for like, they have a couple big rides.
Right, you don't go for
You don't go for, it's not like for the thrill rides.
You go for the experience.
And then you don't go to like Six Flags for the theming. You go for the experience, the thrill. One of those things. Interesting.
Yeah. Orlando, to like all like the Disney stuff they've got there.
No, so the only one we've been to is the Disneyland. I've heard great things. Megan, actually, to take that back, Megan has been to Disney World. She went there when she was like in 8th grade or something, I think.
Got it.
It almost sounds intimidating, though.
Yeah, you've got to
big.
you've got to go with a plan.
Yeah, and I think that would be like overwhelming.
You got to go with a plan. Like just plan, maybe 2021 or 2022, and start planning now.
There you go. Just get everything planned out.
Just put your plan.
Because there's like 4 or 5 parks there, right?
Yeah, I mean, even there's too many to go to experience everything. I think that like including because they have like the ESPN or like World Sport. I can't remember exactly what it is. They have that. That's like there also. So there's like 7 different like attractions that you can go to, and if you're there for, even if you're there for 7 days, like it's too much.
Right.
It just becomes overwhelming. I think we were there for 5, and we tried to go do as many of them as we could, but we didn't. And then even one day we took like a little just day trip up to this place called Jekyll Island. It's in South Carolina. It's really cool. They have these like old school like horseshoe crab, like prehistoric looking like things on the beach that it's known for. So we just went and like took like a little beach day and did that just to kind of escape the like walking around and like
right.
seeing attractions,
miles and miles and miles.
But it was a ton of fun. And then what's the one? Is it Epcot? Is the one that's like one of them is it's got like different
lands.
Yeah,
like of the world.
Yeah,
that one sounds cool.
That was so much fun. So much fun. Like the food, the like different things that you can buy, like the gift shops. It was just that one was one of like the most fun. And then it has like a little, and you can just like stop at each one of like the little things, and you can experience like different attractions for like this part of the world, and like I don't know. It was really cool. That was pretty cool. That was probably my favorite of all of the different attractions and theme parks that they had when we went.
Epcot is great. See, I've heard good things about it. They're actually going to do that where California Adventure is. I think we talked about this before. I'm in deja vu. California Adventure was going to be, they're going to call it Westcott. They're going to do the same kind of thing.
Oh,
but then Disney ran into financial issues, which is hard to imagine now. But so they had to scale it back to what it is, California Adventure.
I think that I don't know that you've mentioned that particularly. I know that you've mentioned Imagineering.
There you go. That's where
the whole thing, but not that California Adventure was supposed to be Westcott. That's interesting. I've never been to California Adventure either. It's another one that I don't know why. I just never been. I've actually always kind of wanted to go because I was like, as a kid, again, like Disneyland's like for kids. Like I want to go to Six Flags, and then when California Adventure came, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'd like to go to that.
Yeah,
never been. So might be a cool trip to go on.
What was your guys' favorite? I was going to say childhood, but let's just say any favorite vacation, like a vacation you went on that just is, or at least the most memorable. Could be childhood, could be more recent. A vacation that really sticks out in your head. Maybe even for negative reasons, maybe for positive ones. Maybe it was like a disaster and it's memorable, but something memorable vacation. What do you guys got? I'm trying to think of one for myself. When we were like, okay, this is weird. I always say this, and then usually people think I'm crazy and weird. But
I'll be
Throw it
the
out
judge of that.
So for me, as a child, our childhood destination, and all my siblings, we have this thing that to us, Las Vegas is a place of our childhood memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we went there as children, and it was because my grandparents would come, and they would from Pennsylvania. They would come all the way out. That's as far as they would go, Las Vegas. So then we would go from Northern California. We would meet them in Las Vegas, and we would hang out. And like kind of in the '90s,
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, yeah.
That's not even close to the middle, though.
No, I know. That's no farther. Come all this, but that's it. For some reason, there was like direct flights from this little town of Erie to Las Vegas. Direct flights right there. And there's like, that's as far as we'll go.
That's it.
We're not changing planes. We're not hopping on a little 1 hour flight to Sacramento.
Flight.
That's it. So that's as far as they would go.
Yeah,
Plus, like the hotels and stuff were cheap. So maybe
That's
that's part
so
of it too.
funny. That's really funny.
But like also in the '90s, they tried. Las Vegas was like, well, we're family friendly now. Didn't really take, but they tried. So there was like roller coasters to go on and things to see. And so for us, it's like, oh, it's a place of childhood memories. And everyone else is like, no, it's not. No.
You know, it's so funny because you mentioned that, and I was trying to think of. There's a picture that I know that I have like from my childhood where like me, my mom, and my brother are all like in front of somewhere, and it looks like we're having a ton of fun. And I was trying to remember where it was. It's Vegas.
See?
It's Vegas.
Childhood memories.
Circus.
Yes.
Circus. Oh my god! I even just we were talking about nostalgia last week with cartoons. Just even mentioning Circus is like giving me like some warm fuzzies inside.
They would give us like a roll of like quarters, like $10.
Yeah.
And we'd be there all day,
Yeah.
playing games, just like having a good time.
Yeah. I remember. Oh man, I remember I had I don't know. I won in one of those games that you never really win anything. I won like this stuffed animal. I can't remember what it was now, but I just remember like that stuffed animal meant so much to me for a long time because I won it in like a game that you don't ever win anything from at Circus in Las Vegas. So yeah, no, I don't know. I don't remember why. We didn't have a specific reason. We kind of had a reason. It was we lived in like this little town called Blythe. It's in the middle of like nowhere down in Southern California, in the middle of like the desert. And Vegas is not too far from like Blythe, and so I think that like and Blythe was, like I said, it was in the middle of nowhere, so there was literally nothing to do. Like Kmart was the most exciting place that we could go to in Blythe.
It's my hometown.
I think it's Kmart, and they think that there was a movie theater. I think for sure there was a drive-in, but anyway, those were like the two most exciting things. But Vegas wasn't too far, so. We would, drive to Vegas again. Hotels weren't that bad.
Yeah.
Stay in Circus and eat buffet food at Circus, even though that sounds gross now that we're in the COVID season.
Yeah, buffets are going to be hard for a while.
And go to Circus. So anyway, Vegas. I'm with you on the Vegas thing.
Not as crazy as it sounds.
A kid, it sounds a little weird, but yeah, no, I'm with you there.
All right, let's see some comments here. What we got? Oklahoma. For Nicole. Never been to Oklahoma, I don't think. Maybe an airport. No, actually I haven't.
Hopes a cruise, 3-month road trip. Ooh, a cruise. We went on a couple of cruises.
See, we did too, and now I feel like they're just not gonna.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a while.
Cruises, it's gonna be rough.
If that whole industry just doesn't just take
in general,
because that's gonna be. I heard someone say they got like a $26 cruise. I was like, that's tempting, but not that tempting. Close, but you got to sell some spots, I guess. Got to move those boats around and keep them moving.
Oh man, that's funny. I think that I don't know. I think that they will. That's the only way that they'll, even begin to rebound. They've got to just like
lose more money in the game.
Yeah, they just got to give them away for free.
Gannon went to Toronto, Canada. That sounds pretty cool. And the East Coast. So that's one of the things that I really want. It's like an East Coast little tour. The states are so much smaller back there. You can hit 10 of them in one day. Probably not, but close. They're not like driving from California. It's like 10 hours later, you're still in California. Yeah. Over there, you just go state. That looks like it'd be fun. And a Red Sox game in Fenway Park. My goodness.
So Emily said a Disney cruise, and we're talking about like Disneyland.
I've heard good things about these. Yeah.
How the attention to detail and the experience and all that. Just like imagine that same thing on like a cruise, because cruises already are like they're super entertaining. They do so much that you can't ever do everything that they even offer on a cruise, because there's just so many things that they offer for you to like have fun and enjoy your experience, and then like you get off and you go on land and experience the excursions and all that. Just imagine that, but like
Disneyfied.
Yeah. Disneyfied. So
To the Disney level.
I don't know. That sounds like a ton of fun.
That would be cool.
I'd look forward to that.
When you look at like the industries that Disney is involved in, theme parks, COVID closed down. Cruise line, COVID closed down. Movie theaters, COVID closed down. Like, man, they got hit hard.
They got Disney Plus going for them.
That's right. They got something. So that's possible.
Luckily, they got that off the ground before all this started. Hope said 3-month road trip across America.
That's amazing.
3 months.
Now, I feel like for that, though, I've heard people do that. It sounds fun. But I feel like there'd be stretches that would not be as exciting.
Yeah, like how much time? I mean, 3 months, though, that sounds like
That's
a
true.
lot
You
of
pack a
just,
lot
like,
in.
relaxing. It doesn't sound like that nearly as much. Like if you're doing like a month,
You gotta move.
you got to move.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the road a majority of the time. But 3 months, though, I don't know. I don't know. I hope I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about your 3-month road trip across America. That sounds like a ton of fun.
So when
actually
Megan was pregnant, I tried to talk her into, when she's pregnant with Melina, into going like across the country on the train. Because I read this book about a guy going across the country on the train. I'm like, will this be great? And she was like super nauseous all the time and like throwing up every day. She's like, no, it sounds horrible. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we didn't do it. But I think that would be cool because it's like not probably as romantic and glamorous as I'm thinking because you sit in a seat for 3 days straight. But the adventure. Sense of adventure.
I think that it'd be cool. Like I don't know. So I'm I like being even on airplanes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So the flight from LA to where did we go? Amsterdam is like 9 hours, 9.5 or something like that, and then the flight from Amsterdam to Cape Town is like 10.5 hours, something like that. So like it's super. But some people have like a huge problem with that. Like I have no problem with it at all. Like I thought it was kind of fun. And then the other thing is like the seats are like really crammed. So you have to get up every so many hours to walk around and stuff like that. Being on a train would be so much more comfortable.
It's true, right?
There's so much
walk around, a little restaurant car.
Yes, I don't know. I think
Will and I will just do it. Megan's still not interested in doing it.
She's still undecided.
She's like, no.
Winston will go with us.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, William will go too. Winston, he's like obsessed.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
Cross country.
Emily also camping across the U.S. from
camping. Camping. Did you sleep in a tent or was it like in a cabin? Because that's a little bit of a different camping experience. I feel like I don't like disregard people who sleep in cabins, but I'm just like it just seems like it's not as camping.
It's not quite camping.
If we're
glamping.
It's it's glamping.
In our old town, there's a glamp ground,
not
a campground, but it's like these little like kind of canvas, almost army tent kind of things, but with beds, electricity, like indoor bathroom, everything. Like that's you're just in a kind of a ghetto hotel, I guess. Really, it's like. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So I could never get my wife to like sleep in a tent ever. There's not even. I could probably barely get my sons to sleep in tents because they're like afraid of bugs and stuff. So I don't know, but there's absolutely no way that my wife would sleep.
Not so much.
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
They did trailers, tent trailer, eventually fifth wheel. Wow. Hope said they made no plans. They just went for it. That's amazing. Anywhere they plan on being gone from 3 weeks to 3 months. That's intense. I don't know if I could do that. I think I would like panic. I think I need more of a plan to know.
Yeah, just to get up and go. Yeah.
I had some friends that did that. They did probably maybe a 2 or 3 week road trip, and it was just 2 of them. They got like in their convertible, had the top down, and just drove. And then they said like they'd be out on the road and be like, "Yeah, I'm getting tired." So they pull out like the iPad and be like, "All right, there's a town. Let me see Expedia, hotel. Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And then they would just do that. Like that was every day. Like maybe without kids, I could do that. Because kids are so like routine. Talked about kids quite a bit today too. Like, but they need food at this time. They need to go to bed at this time. They need a nap at this time. So trying to do just like no plan with that.
I think maybe when I was like 21.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really care about like plans.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's true.
That probably. But even with kids, I mean, even without kids at like 25, I think that I probably would have been like, no,
I need a plan.
I need something. Like some type of structure and order. Yeah, it would have been tough for me even if I was young. Sumi said that she went on the Carnival Inspiration. It was great. We went to Mexico. I think I
remember
might
that
have
one.
been on that one.
I did too.
So
Inspiration.
I went
So,
on. I went to because I went on two. I went to the one that goes to like Ensenada,
mhm.
and there's another place I'm
Catalina.
I think it might be Catalina. Yeah.
We did that one.
And then I did another one that went to when Alexis and I got married. We went on a 7-day cruise to Puerto Vallarta and Cabo, and that was a lot of fun.
We did that one also.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Those are the 2 cruises I've been on. What if we were on the same one?
What if we were on the same one?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Yeah, that would. Yeah. So I'm a fan of cruises.
Yeah, they're fun. But again, it's like we were like talking as a family, like my extended family, siblings, and everything, for a few years about maybe we should do this, maybe we should do this. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen. There's no way, because some were already on the fence of like, I don't know, and like, maybe, and but now they're gonna be like, no.
No way.
Yeah, the COVID cruise, no, thank you. You can't really blame them, I guess. All right, what about
So much fun.
vacation? What about for you guys? What's your favorite unhealthy food? Like a food you like, but you know it's not good for you. Like you get it, but you shouldn't. Favorite unhealthy food?
Favorite unhealthy food?
For me, that's an easy one. It's like gas station or 7-Eleven, the nachos they have there. I love those. I don't know I don't think anything is natural in them, but they're delicious. And they're only like $2. And you always regret it, but it's worth it.
I eat 7-Eleven hot dogs like
See?
they're going out of style.
Right?
Yeah. Like I have like zero reservation about eating 7-Eleven. Like
I think a hot dog is already just like, it's questionable anyways.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where it comes from. It is
like,
what it is.
Is there such thing as a healthy hot dog?
Right.
Like, oh, you would eat a 7-Eleven hot dog? Like, you
Yeah.
eat a hot dog?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, absolutely. My bologna as a first.
Chick-fil-A nuggets, that's not bad. Come on.
You gotta get deeper than Chick-fil-A.
Macaroni and cheese. You guys have like way healthier versions of unhealthy things than I have. Dinosaur nuggets, any nuggets. I feel like that's like a normal thing. Coca-Cola for Cannon. You guys got to live a little more. Go to 7-Eleven and get some hot dogs and nachos.
Probably popcorn.
Popcorn is, I think, actually not that bad for you. I mean, it's
I feel like
corn that's been popped.
it's supposed to be, yeah.
Whatever you put on it, I guess, is what could change it.
Yeah.
McDonald's. Okay, you're getting a little bit more out there.
Yeah, when you said the nachos, it made me for sure think of the 7-Eleven. I mean,
I'm telling you.
yeah. I've got like the 7-Eleven like rewards like card, so I
And they deliver now.
I go to
At least they
7-Eleven.
did.
Yeah, no, they do. They got
Sit down.
the 7-Eleven. I think it's called 7-Eleven or 7 Now. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I ordered something from 7-Eleven and
See?
they delivered it to my house. It's pretty
And Slurpees, just those by themselves.
Yeah,
That's
just
amazing.
the Slurpees by themselves.
Yeah. So like in the town we lived in, they had like little icy machines in the gas station by us,
Mhm.
and there's like 2 flavors. And so one time we took our kids to a 7-Eleven that has like the wall of Slurpees, and they just like lost their minds. They couldn't literally just like walked up and down, like they could not decide. I was like, we were trying to help them, like, you can mix a few together,
Yeah.
you can mix all of them together. There's like, I don't know what to do. Like there's too many choices. Overload a little bit there.
Yeah. I can never eat McDonald's. Oh, anymore. Okay, anymore. So you had a bad experience. Is that what it was?
That happens.
Or did you watch the movie Super Size Me?
Yeah, that was a game changer for me.
I didn't watch it.
I still eat McDonald's, but at least now I'm like, I'm not making a good choice.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not watching that.
That's all it really did for me. Was just
I just had to hear that it was like, blasphemous against McDonald's,
too far.
and I just decided
Yeah.
not to watch it.
I choose to.
I choose to support the golden arches.
There you go, Emily. A monster almost every day. That is unhealthy.
No judgment from me, because Pastor Will used to probably drink like 2 monsters a day when I was in the Marine Corps. So it was like literally, go run for PT in the morning, have a monster. And it was like coffee, monster, coffee.
Your heart was just like constantly.
Rockstar, coffee, there's this pre-workout supplement that like they literally had to take off of the market because it was giving people like heart attacks and stuff like that. called Jack 3D, and we used to take it, before we went to the gym or whatever. But one day we went. We were playing. What were we playing? We were challenging another. We were challenging another like unit, like a flag football game during our like chow time, or maybe we got out early on a Friday. I can't remember exactly what happened, but we were challenging another unit to like a flag football game. And we had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were like 5 guys and 4 girls in like our unit or whatever. And we had always talked about like the girls, and me and my other friend, I called him like my white twin because his name was Will. He and I, like, when we would go to the gym or all this stuff, like they would see us like taking like this Jack 3D, and the girls were like, we want some of like that stuff that you guys take before you go to the gym. We're like, why? And they're like, well, like if you take it before you go to the gym, like it must get you like amped up, right? So we want some before we play this football game. We're like, no, that's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And I think that actually somebody convinced them that they should take it. I don't know that it was all of their idea, but anyway, they took it, and they were like, they were like fiends. Like they looked like they were on like heroin or something like that, and they did not play well at all. They just ran around like chickens with their heads cut off.
And that's why they banned it. This has got to stop.
That stuff had to come off the market. You can't find it anymore. So yeah, I know where you're at with the monsters. Long story short is I've been there for sure.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of energy drinks in college because I didn't drink coffee at the time. And that was late nights, early mornings, so that's where I got us through. You do what you got to,
Yeah.
I don't know about every day, though. That's questionable.
Every day. You eventually, because they're so like addictive, like you eventually just like develop a craving for like the taste. So you're like not even like, man, this is gonna give me so much energy.
And I feel like this is true, especially of Monsters. Yeah. I worked with a guy before that would have, he had like the blue ones, was that low carb ones or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
But every day, like at least one, if not 2. He just had like a little mini fridge next to his desk, just open one up, just all day long.
Yeah. No, it's
we're gonna find out someday if something questionable in Monsters.
I've been there for sure, and even like I don't know, it took me a long time to just like I'm no longer craving like the taste of a Monster, but yeah, it was just like I don't even need it for like the energy. I just want the taste of that sweet, delicious beverage.
And unless you're drinking one right now, you just woke up. Right. Oh, but you're allergic to coffee? Okay, well, forget everything I said. You're allowed. Allergic to coffee? Well, you gotta have something. Yeah.
Allergic to coffee.
Yikes. They need to make a coffee-free coffee. I don't know, that would be tea, I guess.
Yeah, actually.
Or Monsters, in your case.
Black tea.
Crazy. Well, what about you? Do you guys have any questions for us? One of our favorite things that we've started doing recently is the little Q&A time when you guys ask us questions. So you got anything, fire away at us. The only one I had this time was from Alina, the theme park one. I didn't get any questions throughout the week this time. But if you got any questions, feel free to ask us to see what we have to say. Coffee is one of the things that helped me survive as a parent. Like, if I didn't have that, I would probably have Monsters or something, or those things that you had that are now legal.
Jack 3D, don't whatever try to get it. It's a bad idea. I've also heard that there's caffeine in chocolate, dark chocolate.
This is true. I don't know how much, but
yeah.
When Megan worked at the coffee shop, they had like a little training book they went through, and in there was like a chart that showed like coffee, chocolate, black tea, green tea, like all the different levels of caffeine and things. Yeah. So someone asked, they could be like, yeah, there is this much.
And it's interesting.
Yeah,
so they could be able to explain that to somebody who wanted to know.
So there's, because I think it's like, I don't know, maybe a third or half in tea as it's what's in coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to drink a lot of tea, I guess, basically.
In order to get
something.
The same amount.
Yeah.
if you're used to drinking Monster, then tea's not.
Yeah, that's not good for you. I don't think coffee's gonna do it for you there. Gannon says, would you rather be able to breathe underwater or be able to fly? Fly, for sure. Yeah. I would love to fly because then I could just go wherever I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that if I lived near the ocean, I'd be interested in like breathing underwater, or maybe if I was like a cruise ship director or something like that.
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe if I was on the water or in the water all the time, I'm sure Michael Phelps would love to breathe underwater. Like that would.
I think he does already.
That'd be a game
That's my theory.
changer.
We're gonna find out the guy's guild somewhere.
That'd be a game changer for sure for Michael Phelps. Yeah, I think it'd be fly because you could just take off anytime.
Which would be pretty cool.
You wouldn't need water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Onward?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's on.
It's on. I know. Yeah, they released it on Disney Plus.
So there, I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but there is like a part where like there's these. I can't remember what they're called. I think they might be called sprites. They're like fairies. They're not pixies, but they're not fairies. I think that the word might be sprites. Anyway, they basically like stop using their wings, so they can't fly anymore. And I was watching like a little like thing about like a critique of the movie, and they were like, "Well, why would they ever stop using their wings? Like flying is like the most."
At what moment would you be like, "No, I'm good"?
Like ever? Like when would you? Yeah, when would you just be like, "No, I don't need to fly anymore." Like we've got like cars and like motorcycles, so they like ride motorcycles and whatever.
No, flying. Yeah.
So that would never happen. I understand this is a fictional movie, but there's no.
However, I can only like, suspend my belief so far. That's too far.
Yeah,
it's too far.
You guys get too far with the disbelief being suspended.
Hope asks, which holiday would you erase from the calendars if given the opportunity? Man, I like any holiday. I guess the ones that like maybe I just want to know about ones that I don't know about. Like I remember learning about Boxing Day, and I still forget what it is. So things like that.
Isn't it a Canadian holiday?
It's a Canadian one, but it's on our calendar still. And it's
There's a bunch of them.
I think it's more like a British influence one because I think Australia, New Zealand, England, all those places, I think they all celebrate Boxing Day.
Boxing Day.
I think it's a thing. Arbor Day, something to do with trees. I don't know what that is. Maybe plant trees on Arbor Day. I'm not sure. What about Tax Day? Is that a holiday? Because I would take that one away. I would get rid of that one.
I don't know if Tax Day is.
Probably not a holiday. Yeah. Man, wait. I guess we could also look at that question as like if you had to remove a holiday.
I guess like the other. So I'm just looking at a calendar here to try to figure things out. Administrative Professionals Day. Don't know why that's like officially on the calendar. I don't think it's a holiday, but it's officially like on the printed calendar.
I think you can like Google like today's holiday. I think every day now has a holiday, literally. Because my sister will sometimes text and be like, "Hey, today's donut day."
I'm sure. Oh. Yeah, no, for sure.
So now every day has a holiday.
Victoria Day in Canada.
That's probably a good one.
Yeah.
Probably Victoria.
Flag Day, June 14th.
I'm assuming that's something to do with our flag.
I'm gonna guess.
I'm thinking we need like a class on holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know what most of these are.
Quebec National Day. Quebec.
I loved what you said when you did the Memorial Day intro.
Mm-hmm.
How you kind of cleared up the defining between veterans and Memorial Day
and veterans.
I think that's a big one too. I mean, I think no matter what, we should celebrate veterans and also.
Yeah, there's not a problem with that. Yeah, at all. And that's another reason why I'm never like it's not veterans.
Yeah. How dare you?
Watched your video this morning. Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
but it's not.
They serve different purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The holidays they do. So. Yeah, there's a lot of them that you kind of want cleared up, or just an understanding of why.
I'm still not totally sure what Labor Day is. I know.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, I'm glad we have it because we get the day off and things.
Is it? Yeah.
Is it what it's
literally for? Just because
of labor?
We labor.
As a kid, I was always thinking it was like about giving birth. I don't know why we had a day.
This is the day.
This is it, everyone. This is the one to go for. That's a tough question, Hope. I don't know if I could just. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I would pick some obscure one if I had to get rid of one because the ones we celebrate a lot are the ones we like to celebrate a lot. Let's see. If you travel back in time to only 1 year, when would you travel? So funny thing, Megan has never seen Back to the Future. So it's on Netflix. So we started watching that. And it reminded me because they go from 1985, they travel back to 1955, which watching that movie as a kid is like, oh, it's so long ago, so old. That'd be like today traveling back to 1990.
Wow.
Which does not seem that long ago.
Wow.
Because you go from like 85 to 55. Like cars were old, everything's old, like black and white, TVs.
Just blew my mind. I need to go sit down.
I don't know what it did.
Take a long, hard look
but
at
it
my
just
life.
made me reprioritize things a little bit. Like, Wow, what is that?
So I can only go back to 1 year.
1 year. Yeah.
And I can't come back, or can I come back?
Doesn't say. Emily, we need some more rules. We need some more guidance on that one.
Can I come back to 2020? Oh, I mean, I probably would come back to 2019, but
It's true, because 2020 so far has been.
yeah.
How many months in are we in? We're like halfway through.
Yeah.
Even if all the craziness like was done in just the first half of the year, it would still be one of the craziest years.
Yeah, this for sure.
Ever.
Like they're literally rewriting history books, like as we speak.
And it's an election
They're
year,
like, all right,
so we know until at least November we're gonna have stuff going on.
We got to write all of this down here. Let's go.
It's like I was telling some of the graduates, like people saying, "What happened the year you graduated? 2004? Nothing.
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 2006.
What happened in 2020? The year you graduated? Everything.
Oh man.
Everything
so
happened.
much that you're going to be able to remember.
It is one of those things like in history books, because we talk about like, oh, the Great Depression happened here, and World War I, World War II. We talk about these big events. 2020 is going to be one of those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
That we're
Like
gonna talk
the
about.
year that will live in infamy. You know what's so funny too is that like this was like this is probably had this happened 20 years ago, this probably would have been like accepted. Like we would have been okay, or not okay, but we would have like been more understanding, because this is what people thought the year 2000 was going to be.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
During like Y2K, it's like 1999. Everybody was like, all right, like we got to stock up
2000
on water,
disaster,
and
yeah.
like cans, and like take all of your money out of the stock market, hide it in your mattress, or take it all out of the bank, hide it under your pillowcase. We got to prepare for the world to shut down. December 31st, 1999.
And then it was like, tick, nothing.
Yeah. It's like, is it over? Did the rapture happen?
Yeah, I guess.
Did I get
People were
left
like
behind?
jumping midair, like, here we go! And nothing. They came back down, land on their feet.
But it's the reason why I say that is because you talk about like the year being so, remembered and kind of like memorialized. Is I think that again, everybody was kind of expecting that to happen during that year.
It's true.
And because it didn't, it's like the life just continued on. But now like 2020 is like, oh, that's the year. We were like 20 years too early. I don't know. Like, but it's just definitely going to be a year that for sure forever gets remembered.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's, again, and we're only halfway through. It's like, my goodness, what else?
The stories I'll tell my kids.
It's true. Well, Emily says they actually do celebrate tax day because her dad gets a break that day. That makes sense. Kansas he'd erase Halloween because it's really Reformation Day. It's a fair point. Interesting. Okay, Emily says you can come back, but only go back once in time. So you go back and you come back and that's it. That's tough.
I guess the other question is, do I have to come back? No, I'm just joking.
Again, especially if it's to 2020.
I might just stay, just relax a little bit. 1 year.
So you get to live the whole year. Like you get to hang out for that entire year. So you go back January 1st, you come back to here, December 31st. See, we need more parameters for our discussions. We're actually stalling while we're trying to think about it.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm like, what event would I want to participate in?
It's true.
If I only got a chance to go back to one, which one would I want to go and participate in and be a part of?
It's a tough one.
Oh man, it is.
Maybe I'd go back in time to 1985 to watch them film Back to the Future about going back to 1955. See, it's twofer for that one. Oh, you can stay for however long you want. Oh, but you still age the same. Man, this is getting tricky. So you go back for like 3 months. You're 3 months older. You go back for 10 years. You're 10 months old. It's like, that's a tough one.
Yeah, time travel is weird. I think that I would probably, I'd probably need to go back far enough to where like I didn't exist. So for 1988.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That'd be, I'd have too much like temptation to try to like mess with the future if I went back to a time where I already existed. So
the ethics of time travel, that's what we're getting into now. It's tricky stuff.
Yeah. I think that I've said this before though, is that one of like just like the 80s like time period in general, there's a lot of things that I would like to see and like participate in and stuff like that. And so I don't know exactly what year in the 80s, but I think that there was a year that both the Bulls and the Niners won national championships. So that whatever that year would have been
That one. That's
in the 80s. That's the one that I would go to. Yeah, I don't know. I have to double check now. I think there's a year where they both did, though.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
80 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80 early. It was definitely before I was born. So that's where I would go.
It's a good choice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's just too many choices. I think I'd like Will said, you want to go back probably to experience some significant event. So I think I'd go back for that amount of time, whatever that would be, a few days, a week, and then come back.
Yeah.
That'd be the way I'd probably go with that.
Yeah, I would have to go back several months because the Super Bowl's in February and then NBA championships is in the summer. So I don't know. It'd have to be at least 8 months or something like that. But it'd be worth it. When are the NBA finals?
Usually like June,
June.
right? Usually like about now. Because I remember the last one the Bulls won. I was going to Hume. And I was trying like in my cabin with a little like tiny radio with earphones trying to listen to it. So I was like, why would they plan camp during the finals? And I didn't get it.
Who thought of this?
It's a terrible idea.
What idea was this?
So I missed that, which was disappointing. Oh, Hope says so we got a couple for the 80s. Emily and Nicole for the 80s. And then Hope says like the 40s. And Emily again says New Testament years. That's what I was thinking too. Like maybe something in there. It got pretty dark for a while though, like the dispersion and martyrdom. So maybe not that part. That seems rough. But even just being like, I don't know.
Well, if you're only there for like a period,
That's true.
Like
Just
one,
pick a little
snippet.
It'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Or even going back like to like way back, hang out, like watch Moses part the sea and stuff.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a cool event.
So things like that, maybe just historical things. Which I kind of hope that like when we get to heaven, we get to like. I remember as a kid, like we talk about like
Watch
it'd be
a
cool
documentary.
if we could like get all the tapes out, like put them in the VCR and watch them. Now it's like it'd be cool if there's a cloud. We could just, I don't know what God's got up there, like a DVR or what
Watch
the
a
system is.
documentary on
But it's like watch it and like cool. Like,
Yeah.
That's what that was like.
how Noah put,
What that boat look like? Yeah. Watch him build a boat for a couple hundred years, things like that. See, again, this is the same thing. Wonders that God performed through Moses in Egypt. That'd be pretty cool. Good questions, man. Yeah, hopefully we get to just, somehow see what happened back then. It'd be cool. That's why anytime they do like a decent job with a movie or something of Bible stuff, it's cool. Because a lot of times they're not a decent job.
Yeah.
They're not so good. And it's kind of disappointing. But anytime they can actually put like,
something
what it would actually maybe
together
look
that's
like.
Yeah.
like the Prince of Egypt, that cartoon. I still love that cartoon.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Quality went into it. It's pretty cool. Fairly accurate. It was good. All right, what else you guys got? Any more questions? These are great. Thought-provoking. Now I just really want to watch Back to the Future again. So even going back like to the Super Bowl and the championship, would you be like in Back to the Future and like would you place some bets on?
Some wagers on. It's like I would like to put everything that I own.
All of it right now. It's like that story in the Bible, like the guy that finds, the treasure in the field, so he goes and sells everything he owns, so he can come back and buy the field. Kind of sketchy, but at the same time, like, yeah, that makes sense. There's something cool in this field. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, I want everything. I want it all.
Yeah. I've seen Jesus rise from the dead. That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
It's in the holes in his.
And just like that stone, like, and the whole thing.
That whole thing.
That whole thing would be cool. Oh man, we got him flying in. Okay, you could learn any language fluently. What would it be? Any language, really. I just wish I could speak another language fluently. I wish I could speak English fluently. I'm still not very good at that one.
Still working on the
Yeah.
English.
I think for a while I really wanted to learn German because Megan knows German. And like I had like this plan when we were early married. I'm like, I'm just gonna learn it secretly. And then like bam, start talking to her. It takes like years to learn it, and I didn't do it.
Didn't realize.
Yeah.
I'd like to learn like music. I'd be able to read music
That'd be cool too. That is a language.
frequently.
Yeah.
Chinese would be good for business. Armenian, yeah, or Spanish. Yeah, I feel like Spanish would be good for the Central Valley.
Chinese, Russian. Man, you guys very
So I've got I've got friends from Cape Town, and they both like my buddy, his wife. They speak. They both speak French, like fluent French. Like his French. I was translating a paper for him one day, like when he was in like college. He would write his papers in French, and like I would help him translate them to English and like try to make them make sense. And his like the level of his French was like I didn't even understand like the words when I translated them to English. Basically, I'm like, what does this word even mean? I didn't know that was a thing, you know. And so it's just like, man, this dude is so smart, but like you wouldn't be able to tell because his English is so broken. You wouldn't know that he's like, you know, as intelligent as he is. But yeah, it's just like so. Anyway, they both speak. Well, his wife only speaks 3 languages, I think, but he speaks like 5 or 6.
That's still amazing.
Yeah.
Even I've heard that once you get proficient in like one, sometimes, especially if they're kind of connected loosely, it's kind of easier to move to other ones.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, but I can't vouch for that at all.
So they have a daughter, and they only speak to her in French because they're like, she's gonna learn English when she goes to school. So at home they only speak to her in French.
That's very interesting.
So yeah, and that, I mean, you see that like a lot of like, you know, second generation people, like when they learn like the language that they speak at home, whatever their native tongue is, they speak that at home. Mm-hmm. They learn English like, you know, super easy because that's what they're being taught in school. So like, well, why would we speak English here if she's already learning it at school? Yeah. You know, we might as well teach her something else. So that's really awesome. So yeah, their daughter, she speaks like, you know, really good French.
It is amazing. I remember like when I was in Europe, going to some of like the areas where they have like the kind of the street fair things and like talking to different merchants that were there, and they would start in on like whatever. So like if you're in Italy, they start in Italian, and they go, I don't speak Italian. So then they like switch to French, they switch to German, they switch, and they just bounce around until they, okay, English, yeah, English, okay.
What language?
How in the world do you speak so many languages? So cool. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
And I got, like I said, I got just the one. I remember when I was poorly learning Greek at school, and my Greek teacher would even say like, well, as you already know from English, the construction of a sentence, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't know that. That's how a sentence worked. Like,
not at all.
I just speak it. I don't know how it works.
Not at all.
So yeah, even English, I'm not that proficient in, apparently.
You know, yeah, I don't know. I feel so. I think that. Oh man, have we talked about this before? I don't know. I just feel like a lot of things in English are just like hard. Like they just don't. Like there's supposed to be like rhyme and reason to all of it, but sometimes it just doesn't really seem like there is.
Yeah.
Like it literally seems like somebody was just like, oh, this is the way that it is because I said that.
I have heard that it's
not
a tricky
really
language.
like, you know, a lot of like, you know, rules and structure to, you know, the reason why we do certain things. And so I think that's one of the reasons why even like some people, they're just like, man, English language is, I mean, like some people who don't speak English, like not native English speakers, are just like, English language is like weird.
Yeah.
It's just because I think that a bunch of other different languages like have more like structure and like clarity of like how they're all, and English is not like that. And then we don't learn that in like detail. I think that they teach it, you know, a little bit when you go to school and stuff like that to learn English, but you know, we don't learn all the ins and outs of it. So
yeah,
I think it's probably also because it is really complicated. Even though it seems like it's easy, it's like it's really complicated.
All right, we got one more that came in. If you could travel to any continent for a week, which would it be? And they said Israel. Good choice.
Any country for a week?
Actually, it's a continent. So I'm gonna stick with the continent one, and I'm gonna actually say Antarctica. Because how many people get to go there? And what other chance would you ever have? Or reason would you ever have? When I was like in high school, college, I'm like, I want to go to every continent. And then I realized Antarctica was a continent. I'm like, maybe not every continent. Maybe not that one. That seems cold. But I would just do it, just because if someone else is paying for it, just to step foot on it and then get out of there.
You would never go.
I mean, what reason other would you have to go?
You would never go any other. Like you might go to Europe, you might go to Asia, you might go to Africa, you might go to South America, you might go to like all the other continents, but
there's really no reason to.
You would never go on your own.
I think there's scientists there doing sciencey things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no other.
That's a good. I'll jump on board.
There we go.
I'll jump on board with you. That
so we can do like a train trip, and then we can also stop by Antarctica, but not via train. That one.
Yeah, we couldn't get there via train. But yeah, you convinced me. I'm on board. I'd go to Antarctica.
There you go. Who's with me? Let's go to Antarctica, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that's our show for today, and that's our.
It's soon to buy.
that's our final sip, as we called it, the last sip, which has been fun doing morning sip. It's been fun hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
But now, morning sip was morning shelter in place, and shelter in place has lifted. So we're like, well, what do we do now? And we're still figuring it out. But there will be more coming. We've talked about, what have we talked about? We've talked about sips to go.
Sips to go.
Maybe a little like mini sips throughout the week. We'll do stuff like that.
Yeah, we talked about evening table.
Table, that's right.
So we had morning sip.
Now we'll have evening table, maybe.
Possibly evening table.
I forgot already the acronym. Talking about
Bible,
life, etc.
etc.
So there you go. Acronym still works.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll still do different things. We enjoy the format with you guys. What we want to do though is hear from you guys. Like for the little sips to go, like what would you like us? Little subjects, basically like 5 minutes or less. A subject we could just talk about, share about. So let us know those things, like either Instagram or just text us, email, whatever. Even for like the evening thing. We'd love to have these little live interactions with you guys because this is fun. Even as we open back up, this is still fun to do.
Yeah.
So we'll find times for that. And just, different things. Now we had to switch and pivot into a shelter in place structure. Now we're going to switch and pivot into whatever's after that, which isn't going to be exactly like before because we're moving forward.
We're progressing.
Yeah.
Right. But we don't know, again, what Pastor Michael says, we don't know exactly what it is going to look like. So, but one of the things that we want to do for sure, one of the reasons why we even love doing this is because we get a chance to connect and interact. You guys get a chance to talk. I mean, I love like seeing like the comments and the questions and you guys responding to each other and all that stuff. And so we definitely want to keep some aspect or, some part of that. So if there's anything that you have in terms of suggestions on how, this looks moving forward or some things that you really hope that we do or hope that we keep or some things that you're just like, that was terrible. Don't ever do that again. We want to hear.
Keep that to yourself.
Yeah. I want to hear. Okay.
It's
Pastor
true.
Michael doesn't want to hear. So
let us know.
Just text me. Don't text him. But yeah, we want to know if there was anything like that you guys kind of are just like, we would love to see that, or you guys should do this or things like that. We would love to hear it. But yeah,
like one of the reasons we did like the morning format is because we were all stuck at home. What else are we going to do? But now as things open up, that's why we talked about maybe we'll do like an evening thing. Maybe we'll have guests come in because now we can do that kind of stuff. So different ideas and different things. But our whole goal with all of it is just to connect with you guys, to hang out. And again, we'll be able to hang out in person really soon. That's going to be awesome. But we enjoy this as well. We enjoy this interaction, and we want to keep that going too.
Yep.
So stay tuned.
Yep.
We'll find out what that's going to look like. We, as always, appreciate you guys hanging out for the past 11 weeks. Can you believe that? That is crazy.
11.
I
mean, and then again, like, so we've talked
about the bonus week.
The bonus
week. That's right.
Yeah. So this is like 3 months of, doing this, hanging out with you all in the mornings or, at least connecting through YouTube. But yeah, 3 months of this. Now we're kind of moving again, progressing, hopefully.
Yeah.
And going to be jumping on something new.
One thing we've talked about, and we'll keep talking about it, is even as things open back up, there's been a lot of talk of going back to normal, which we mean normal in the sense of like how life looks. But we've also talked a lot about how we don't think that means necessarily back to everything the way it was before. So that's why we're talking about still implementing things like this, still doing things that are collaborative like this, because God always moves us through things and moves us forward. God never moves things just back to exactly how it was before.
Right.
So we're looking at what does that mean? What's that going to look like? We're trying just to lean in, listen to God, see where his heart is, and join him in whatever he's doing through all this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why for us it's been not an easy process, but definitely one that we've kept an open mind about the progression of what God is doing and seeing the glimpses of that. Your perspective, I say this all the time, how you view your obstacles, how you get through it. And if you see it as like, this is something bad that's happening to me, then it'll be hard to get through. But if you see it as like, I definitely think that God is in control of all
this
of this.
This surprise him.
Right.
Yeah.
This doesn't change who he is or his character or what he's doing. And so if that's the case, then how do I get on board with what he is doing in the midst of all this? And how do I find the good things that are happening in the middle of all of these challenging things? And so, again, because of that, we've looked at this as if, okay, well, I think that because God is not surprised by this, then there is something that is going to come of this or from this that is going to be better than what we had previously, right? But it takes some mindsets, some perspectives, some expectations to change and shift in order for that to happen. And so that's kind of where we've been this entire time through this entire process, and that's the mindset and mentality that we'll continue to have as things continue to grow, develop, and in my opinion, probably get better.
Yeah, and again, just in general, we've talked about this so much too, Will and I, about this is the disruption that happened. Life's full of disruptions, and so we can either lean into that or try to just avoid it and just get around it. But some of the examples we've talked about, look at like Kodak when a disruption came. Look at Blockbuster when a disruption came. You guys even know what Blockbuster is at this point, which kind of makes my point. So disruption comes, and what are we going to do? How are we going to lean into that? What are we going to, especially with something like this, it just seems like God's at work in a way. So we look and say, okay, what is he doing? How can we partner in that? And like Will said, how can we just get in with that to continue to move forward? An example we've talked about a lot as well is like the Israelites. They came out and right away, they're like, let's go back to Egypt. And Moses was like, no, we're not. You don't go back to Egypt. Like, yeah, but we had like 3 squares a day. I mean, yeah, the whole slavery thing was a little rough, but it wasn't that bad. Like, no, God doesn't take you out to move you back. Yeah. So it keeps moving you forward. And some things stay the same and some things change. So we're looking forward to whatever that looks like. And just you guys join us along for the ride.
Yeah. So thank you so much for just your patience. Thank you for, trusting. Thank you for joining and connecting with us regularly. It's been encouraging. I mean, we are encouraged by you, hopefully being encouraged by us. And so we appreciate, all of the comments and the reaching out.
It's been fun for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you guys, and we'll keep you posted with what's next. And thank you for staying with us throughout the sips, even the last one. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.
So long.